All right, guys, we're going to start section 3.2. So if the sub could maybe pause this video and just let everybody get their note packet out and open up to section 3.2. Looks like this page. And then we can hit play once we're ready to go. All right, so we are going to talk about functions again. So we've been doing domain and range. So today we're going to talk about evaluating. Okay, so like actually solving for something. So a function rule is an equation that describes a function. Okay, it has an input and an output. Basically, you put something in and you get something out. Okay, you put a number in, you get a number out. So that's all this machine says, right? You put something in, you get something out. Okay, so you have an input and an output. Okay, so instead of having like we're used to seeing y equals, right? Like y equals 2x minus 3, right? Something like that. With a function, we're going to use this letter f, and then you'll see x in parentheses. These mean the same thing, y, and we call this f of x. Okay, those mean the same thing. It's just a different, we call it notation. It's just a different way to name it. Okay, so that's what we're going to be working on, and I think you guys maybe saw that in Algebra 1. So we're going to do just example 1a here. Okay, so this says I have this function, f of x equals 3x plus 1. Okay, whatever is in here, this x, this is your input, and whatever's on the other side is your output. Okay, so we've been talking about domain and range. Domain's your x's, range is your y's. Remember, f of x is y, means the same thing. So if I want to fill out this table, I have x. Okay, this means I'm going to do f of x, which is negative 2. Okay, all this means is I'm going to plug in negative 2 for x. Okay, what I'm plug in, I'm going to get something out. Okay, so this is 3x plus 1. So I'm going to plug in negative 2. Okay, so we could use our calculators, right? You guys can have yours open. I'm going to split screen mine. Whoa. Okay, and we can just plug that right in. I know you guys have Desmos too. So 3 times negative 2 plus 1, oops, is negative 5. So if you put in negative 2, you get out negative 5. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for negative 1. So same function, but now I'm going to plug in negative 1. Okay, so this is 3, parentheses means multiply. Negative 1 plus 1, I get negative 2. Okay, and then keep doing the same thing. So 3 times 0 plus 1, 3 times 0, 0 plus 1, I get 1. Okay, so how about I'm going to pause the sub, if the sub could pause this for just a minute, and let everybody do the last 3 here, 1, 2, and 3, and then we'll come back and check our answers. Okay, so if you plug in 1, 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1, we should get 4. Okay, plug in 2, 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1, that's 7. And then 3 times 3 plus 1, that's going to be 10. Okay, so that's what function notation is. You're plugging something in. Okay, I'm actually going to skip B. That's a absolute value function. We're not going to worry about those. So let's go down to example 2. So flip your page. Okay, so another way to write the function, this is kind of what we just talked about. Y equals 1/2 x minus 8 is just with that f of x. F of x equals 1/2 x minus 8. Okay, that is function notation. So just a singular question. This says evaluate, which just means solve. Okay, this function, so this says f of n. Okay, that's only because I'm using the letter n instead of x, but it's the same. So evaluate this function. So So negative 5n plus 25 for n equals negative 2. So there's your letter, right? So we're going to plug in negative 2. Okay, that's all that says. So I'm going to go negative 5 times negative 2 plus 25. You can type that right in your calculator. It's positive 10 plus 25, so we should get 35. Okay, again, it just means plug it in. All right, so let's go to B. Okay, so this says evaluate k of x. It's okay that the letters are different. It's just a name for the function. So here's your function for x equals negative 3. So we're going to plug in negative 3. Okay, so this is negative 4. Plug in negative 3, and then there's actually a squared here, plus 2. That's fine, we can still just do this on our calculator. Okay, so I can go negative 4 parentheses negative 3 squared, and then plus 2, we get out negative 34. Okay, so if you plug in negative 3, you get out negative 34. Okay? All right, going down to example 3. So now you have a different function. So this says g of x. So again, just a different name. So g of x is 2x minus 5. Find each of the values. Okay, so let's find g of negative 4. So this means plug in negative 4. So 2 times negative 4 minus 5 is negative 8 minus 5. You could do that in your calculator. That's negative 13. Okay, if the sub could maybe pause the video and let's have you guys go over to C. If you could do C really quick. Okay, let's check that one. So if you plug in 13, that's 2 times 13 minus 5, which is 26 minus 5. So hopefully we got an answer of 21. All right, so something that's a little bit backwards now. Anytime we plug something in, that number was inside the parentheses, right? So looking at B, I don't know what x is, but we do know this number, right? The 23. So this means your output, which is y, right? I don't know what the x is. So this question is asking when y is 23, what is x? Okay, so this is a little backwards. Okay, so remember this g of x up here, that is y. So if this is my function, I know y is 23, so I'm actually going to put that 23 right here and then solve this, right? This goes back to your solving equations. So add 5. I wrote a little too big. Okay, divide by 2. And we should get x is 14. Oops. Okay, so it's just a little bit backwards from the one we just did. All right, so maybe if the sub could again pause the video for maybe just a minute, you guys try problem D, and then we'll come back and check it. Okay, so again, I don't know what x is, so I have to leave this 2x minus 5, but this means this is my output. Okay, so I'm going to say negative 33 equals 2x minus 5. Hopefully you added 5 to both sides. Negative 33 plus 5 is negative 28. Divide by 2. So we should get x equals negative 14. Okay, so those are a little trickier. All right, last type of evaluating we're going to do is based off of a graph. So after example 4, we're done. So this first one is based off of this graph H. Okay, so you have this picture with some points. So remember, anytime you have this letter, it's like x is inside. Okay, so this first one, this is asking when x is 2, what is y? Okay, so I'm going to go to my x-axis. When x is 2, what's y? So here's my point right here. So my y value there is 3. Okay, it's basically just asking like what's the point, right? It's 2 comma 3, so 3 is the y. Okay, so then B is a little backwards, right? I don't know x, but I know that my output is 3. So this is asking when y is 3, what is x? Okay, so I'm going to go to my graph. When y is 3, so here's my y-axis. Okay, here's when y is 3. What's x? Oh, well, that's kind of the one we just did, right? That x value is at 2. Okay, last one, so this inside the parentheses is always x. So when x is 0, it's saying what's the y, right? X comes first, y comes second. So when x is 0, my y is right here where the purple dot is, that's at 1. Okay, all right, last bit here, maybe the sub could pause the video for, I don't know, let's say maybe 2 minutes, and then we'll come back and check that last graph, and then got a little practice for you. All right, so k of -1, so this graph is k. So when x is -1, go all the way up. Okay, right here, your y value is, what number is it? 10. Okay, next one, I don't know x, but y is 4, right? So here's where y is 4. So here's your x value at 1. Okay, next one, 2 is your x. I don't know the y, right? So when x is 2, y is 1. Okay? All right, guys, that's where we're going to stop for today. There is a Khan Academy for you to finish up class with, and that is called Evaluating Functions. All right, guys, have a great day. Email me if you have questions.